Plus, it has 200 more horsepower, which makes it harder to manage as well.
A super speedway that races much like a short track. 1 1/3 miles, or 1 3/8 rather, is the distance around Darlington Raceway.
And you see Jimmy Johnson.
I'm surprised going forward. Definitely 3 and 4 is tight.
And that's Jimmy Johnson, the 48 car, talking to his crew chief, Chad Canals. But I'm not totally surprised at that. What he's saying, his car is tight. It's not turning when he turns the steering wheel. He's surprised he's going forward, but you can go around here a lot quicker with a little tug on the steering wheel than you can with the back end coming out.
I just think about last week. Jeff Gordon was complaining about his car was terrible. He took the lead and drove away from everyone.
Darrell, what about the glare going down that backstretch? Sunset is not for another 20 minutes tonight.
Actually, when you come off turn 2 right there, start down the back just for a little ways, that's going to bother you.
There you see Casey Kane in the 9 just took the 5th position away from Mark Martin in that 5 car, the winner from here a year ago. Matt, what's going on with Mark Martin?
Well, nothing yet on the radio. If you look back to last year, several drivers told me the thing that stood out to them about Mark was he got into a very solid pace and he raced as fast as he wanted to go, knowing that there's 367 laps in the race, and right now we're only at lap 11. But this team, like a lot of others, struggled with the switch from the wing to the spoiler. They've tried some different things setup-wise this weekend, and it has really come to life. Mark and the spoiler qualified well, practiced well, and currently running well.
If you look where Mark Martin is, what do you see in front of him? Nothing. What do you see behind him? Nothing.
Found himself a nice pocket.
Get in that safe zone and ride.
I think he's one of those guys that understands 90% for 90% of the race.
Jeff Burton and Jimmy Johnson on the move. We'll update that when we come back. Jeff Gordon leads Brian Vickers by 2.6 seconds as he puts a lap on Max Pappas. Jimmy Johnson has gained 9 positions, up to 13th from 22nd. Jeff Burton has gained a couple, and Kevin Harvick has gained 8 spots. What we call the Darlington stripe is when you get up against the wall, and already we've had a couple of takers. Watch the 6.
That's a pretty hard lick. You see the paint and stuff flying off the safer barrier there, so that tells you he hooked it pretty hard.
David Reagan has made a pit stop to correct that damage, and David Gilliland has also been up against the wall.
Watching these lap times, even in traffic, Jeff Gordon is still just a skosh better than most everybody else. Vickers is a little right there with him.
Add Reed Sorensen to the Darlington stripe list as he brings his Braun Racing Toyota to pit road.
This is about the right amount of time, Larry. What have we been? We've been 20 laps. About time for you to start sliding around.
4th place, Jamie McMurray, David Rudiman.
Yeah, this is when you're going to have handling issues, you're going to start to really get into them. These things are really going to start to slide around. There's still a lot of sunlight on the racetrack. Racetrack still doesn't have a lot of grip.
It's not going to cool down much. It was 85 at the start of the race. Only going to be in the high 70s by about 8 or 9 o'clock tonight.
Sorensen took his car to the garage as we watch Rudiman try to hold on to the 5th spot against Ryan Newman. Now what Montoya and the 47 have made contact. Marcus Ambrose, the Australian, versus the Colombian in the red car.
These guys are battling for 15th position.
Ooh, Marcos just got real loose. I think he drove in there real hard, knowing Montoya in the 42 was right on his tail. Maybe overdrove the corner, got the car loose.
If Jeff Gordon leads 18 more laps of this race, he's led all of the first 22 so far. He will pass Cale Yarborough for 5th on the all-time Darlington lap leader list. Steve?
Yeah, Mike, but Darrell's right. Starting to hear drivers now complain about the race cars. Now, a moment ago, Jeff Gordon said, I'm going up the hill in turn 1, but I'm good off the exit of turn 2. But then just seconds ago, he said, Steve, talking about crew chief Steve Letarte, I feel like I've worn out my right front tire already.
Steve, the one thing I do know is the two cars behind him, in particular, Brian Vickers in that 83 car, is definitely 2 or 3 tenths quicker than Gordon in the 24 right now, and has been. You can see he's really starting to gain on Jeff Gordon.
I can't imagine he wore out the right front tire. We've been here. They've had the race last night all through practice. We've seen no indication of any kind of tire wear.
I don't think he's probably worn out, Darrell. I just think it's lost its grip. It's not gripping the racetrack.
If he was tight, he probably had a lot of buildup in that right front air pressure, and it's just made the tire not work.
Saw the gap from Brian Vickers back to Casey Kane. Toyota against Ford for second and third. Now Kane is 5 seconds off the lead, but he's running laps 0.2 of a second quicker than race leader Jeff Gordon right now.
Yeah, he and Brian Vickers in the 83 running second. They're running fairly comparable laps, which is definitely quicker than Jeff Gordon. This is McMurray here, the one car, our pro sitter. He's in fourth right now. He's about 3 or 4 tenths slower than Jeff Gordon right now.
That's the top 4 with Denny Hamlin rounding out the top 5. Then Ryan Newman, Jeff Burton, Mark Martin, Brad Keselowski, and David Rudem in the top 10. 25 laps in.
Woo. This just in, Jeff Gordon is leading the race.
Jeff Gordon leads all active drivers with 7 Darlington wins. He's led every lap of this race after Jamie McMurray started from the pole, but his Hendrick Chevy teammate Jimmy Johnson has not had an easy go of it. Johnson currently in 13th, and look at car number 48 on the right rear corner as he battles teammate Dale Earnhardt Jr. Here's what happened.
I've been watching these guys on this end of the speedway particularly, and there is absolutely no room between, and you see Johnson just gets loose all by himself right there. If we get a shot here, let's watch him one more time and see that car just snaps around. We saw a number of cars spin out like that.
Up front, Brian Vickers has caught Jeff Gordon for the lead, and just in front of Gordon, the 99, Carl Edwards is usually a contender. Carl has not won a race this year, and Steve, he's struggled all weekend here.
And Mike, a lot of trouble for Carl Edwards right now as far as the handling goes. He said the front end was chattering across the turns, and he also said he's having problems with his rear axle.
Yeah, the steer in the rear axle wants to pitch me sideways once I get through the entry to 1. But everywhere other than that, the front tires just don't have a lot of grip.
10-4, a little loose, heading up into 1, tight everywhere else.
Keep that thing clean. People are starting to bounce off the wall now. Just hang tough. Race to racetrack.
Well, we saw they did a ton of work on this car during the 2 practice sessions yesterday. Changed the rear end housing. Carl said in an interview, "I am so slow through the middle of the turns, I can't pick the throttle up, and I'm getting killed on speed." And it don't look like they've helped it much.
Carl Edwards at work, putting a lot of wheel into it going in the corner.
And look at that concentration. I mean, he is just focused. He finally gets a chance to look behind him, see if anybody's on his tail, which they are.
And somebody is. It's Casey Kane, the 3rd place car, the number 9. You're riding with Casey as he comes up to lap Edwards.
You could see how much quicker that Casey Kane in the 9 that we're riding with could get back to the throttle than Carl Edwards in the 99 there.
And this is the end of the racetrack here in the 1 and 2 end where Carl said he was really struggling. Right through here, just no speed whatsoever. See right there, Casey gets a run on him, and here he goes, and Carl waves, says, "Go, dude, get off my bumper."
Well, if you're loose getting in the corners, we saw in qualifying, you're running almost 190 miles an hour on fresh tires. You do not need someone tucked up behind you.
A lot of the Ford faithful riding with Casey Kane tonight. Ford's not been to victory lane since last October at Talladega Superspeedway. All of the other 3 makes in NASCAR have won this year.
The problem right now that Jeff Gordon has, every car he gets to is he's trying to put him a lap down, and they're holding him up. And here goes Vickers in the 83 to make the first pass on Gordon in this race.
Here's the thing. You got one guy that really wants to win, and you got another guy that really wants to lead right now. Brian Vickers wants to lead, and the guy in front of him, that guy he's passing right there, that's his teammate. I think he'll probably move out of his way.
Scott Speed gives Vickers, former Nationwide Series champ, plenty of room.
And I think this will do Brian Vickers and that 83 team so much good because they made the chase last year, but it almost appeared they used it all up getting there. They had a dismal 10 races, and really and truly 2010 hadn't started much better.
Larry, he's looking for a highlight. Brian Vickers is. He just got one.
Well, he finished 16th here last year in the number 83. That's his best ever Darlington finish. And when he comes around to the stripe, Brian Vickers will have led more laps tonight at Darlington than in his whole Sprint Cup career. 2. Brian Vickers a second ahead of Jeff Gordon. Casey Kane now on Gordon's bumper for second place as things heat up. 40 laps in at Darlington Raceway.